Which film is better? That's what it ultimately boils down to. Toughest decision I've had on this show, without a shadow of a doubt. Welcome to Original vs. Reboot, the show where we take reboots and remakes and compare them to their original film. I'm Carl, and the film today... Today we'll be taking a look at the 1995 film Jumanji and comparing it to its 2017 reboot. Their 1995 film was directed by Joe Johnston, the same man that brought us Jurassic Park 3 and Captain America the First Avenger. So he's made at least one good film. Whereas the 2017 reboot was made by Jake Kasdan, a man known for films like Bad Teacher, Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story, and Sex Tape. So, you know, he hasn't brought us a good movie. And of course the original, the 1995 version, starred Robin Williams and a very young Kirsten Dunst and some well-known faces along the way. While the 2017 reboot was a star-studded reboot which starred the likes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Hart and Jack Black. Now, if you're new to Original vs. Reboot, it's your first time checking us out here on Movie Film, there's 9 entire other episodes of Original vs. Reboot where we take reboots and compare them to their original films or remakes. I've gone through all that numerous times. Today we're focusing on Jumanji, and I gotta say, both of these films are pretty good, so this comparison is going to be really difficult. When I was a kid, I loved the original Jumanji film because it's so crazy and wild, and Robin Williams is just fantastic in it. So I was skeptical when they decided to reboot it because it was one of my most beloved films as a kid. But the reboot came along, and I gotta say, they did a pretty good job. It's not disrespectful to the original. They don't stomp all over it. They kind of continue it on. It's more of a sequel than a reboot again. So if you're unfamiliar with how Original vs. Reboot works, we take the two films and compare them on various elements and then decide at the end which was better. I believe the originals are way out in front, but I haven't done the calculations just yet to figure out which is winning, originals or reboots. If you know, let me know in the comments below. I think it was always going to be a brave decision to take on a Robin Williams film and reboot it because the man is a comedy legend. It's a shame he's not around anymore to keep making films because he entertained the masses with some great comedy and some great drama down the years. He was a phenomenal actor. So it was a brave decision to take on one of his most beloved films, but might be stretching it, well-known films, and reboot it. As I say, they don't stomp all over the original and say we're starting right from the beginning. Rather, they continue on from where we left off. Someone finds the original Jumanji game in the sand, brings it home to their son or brother, and he doesn't want to play with it, so the game changes into a video game. There is a change between the two stories because in the original Jumanji, Jumanji itself breaks out of the game and terrorizes the known world. Whereas in the reboot, players are sucked into Jumanji and have to go through Jumanji to escape back into the real world. Now, one of these films was made in 1995 when we all thought we were great at computers and the computers were never going to get any better, and you know, we were a little bit wrong. And films suffered from this. You know, some of them don't hold up in the old special effects department anymore. And that's definitely the case with Jumanji because some of the CGI in this film, it's interesting. And weirdly, this film was made by Joe Johnston, the same man who brought us Jurassic Park 3, and Jurassic Park 3 also had some interesting CGI. Of course, he got a bit better at it by the time Captain America came around. The 2017 reboot looks fantastic all the way through. Again, it highly relies on CGI, just like the original, but the CGI's come on so much over the last 20 years, and hopefully it'll come on even further in the next 20 years, because it's starting to look good, slowly. So visually and on special effects, the reboot is actually much better. On story-wise, I think they both tell a good story. In the original, there's a kid in the 60s, I think it's the 60s, and he starts playing the game with a girl that he likes at their house, and he gets sucked into the game until someone plays a 5 or an 8, rolls a 5 or an 8 on the dice. The girl runs away, so he gets trapped in Jumanji. Skip forward 20, 30 years later, these kids, one of them is Kirsten Dunst and her little brother, not her real life little brother, film little brother, they find the game in the new house they move into and they start playing it before school. One of them rolls a 5 or an 8, out comes Robin Williams. And then they have to find the other person who started the game and the four of them have to finish the game. And as they play along in the real world, more and more Jumanji escapes the game and causes terror across the world. Then in the reboot, 4 kids who have detention in school end up stumbling across a video game while they're in detention. For weirdly, they have to like clean out the basement. Is that how they do detention in America? You have to like clean out the basement? It was a weird thing, but they found a video game and all 4 of them started playing it. You've got the usual, you've got the jock, the nerd, the popular girl and the least popular girl, the 4 stereotypes. And then one by one they pick different characters, they go into the game and they take on certain avatars who are played by the famous people, The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black. They're the main people in the movie doing the main actions. And this somehow ends up with Jack Black imitating a 14 or 15-year-old girl.
Wait a second! Where's my phone?
Jack Black can surprisingly perform as a teenage girl really well. I don't know if he has good practice with that or he just did it really well. And of course, Kevin Hart and The Rock, it's well known how well they play off each other.
Don't call me a dumbass.
Don't push me,
Or what, Spencer?
or I'll push you back.
Did you just smack me?
Their mission is to get this gem and put it inside a statue and shout out Jumanji and escape the game. So one film is trying to get Jumanji back into the game and stop terrorizing the world, and the other one is trying to get out of Jumanji. 2 different sides to the same coin. Both of these films are highly entertaining. They're both just under 2 hours, and I think they both fly by. Story-wise, it's hard to tell which is better. I enjoyed both films. The one thing that the reboot has going for it over the other one is that it's got a little bit more action in it, and it's got a little bit more comedy in it, and that's a hard thing to say because Robin Williams is in the other one. But I think on just minor elements, the reboot is slightly more entertaining. It's got a few more laughs in there, and that's a tough call. I'm sure some of you will disagree with me, and if you do disagree with that, let me know in the comments. The interesting thing is the reboot actually is the one that ended up having a sequel. Jumanji: The Next Level has also come out. I think it was just last year it came out. I still haven't watched it. It's strange to see a reboot of something get a sequel. It doesn't happen that often. And all in all, as I've already said, both of these films are very entertaining. Some good acting in there. One of them has some bad CGI, one of them has some okay CGI, and they both have good comedic elements. Which film is better? That's what it ultimately boils down to. Toughest decision I've had on this show, without a shadow of a doubt. I definitely want to hear your opinions on this one, which is better, the 1995 Jumanji or 2017 Jumanji. For me, the one that just about edged it, and it breaks my heart to say this, but the one that just about edges it is the reboot. It was just slightly more entertaining, slightly better paced, better CGI, and it didn't trample over the original. I think it paid good respect to the original at the same time. So just by the narrowest margin possible, the reboot takes it. You probably think I'm an idiot for going with the reboot, but for me, I just enjoyed it a tiny bit more. Even though I haven't watched the sequel to the reboot, I am looking forward to seeing that as well. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button just so that I know what you're watching. And don't forget to subscribe for new content every Wednesday and Friday if you're not subscribed already. And with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching.